the sons who go to mountains and Himalayas. Behind them you find the Devdas is going. For what? According to a report, out of the priests and the nuns of the Church of England, the majority indulge in fornication and homosexuality. There is no option, there is no third option. The only option is that you marry a husband who already has a wife, or you become public property.
Thank you. In continuation of that question, we have got a question on the slip. Can you enumerate the various conditions in which polygamy is permitted? This is from Sister Samina. Can you enumerate the various conditions in which polygamy is permitted?
The sister asked the question that can you enumerate the various conditions in which polygyny is permitted? The only condition which allows a man to marry more than one wife is that he should do justice between the two wives. If he can do justice between the 2 or 3 or 4 wives that he has, he is allowed to take more than one wife. If he can't do justice, he should suffice with only one wife. But there are several conditions in which it is more advisable for a man to take more than one wife. One of the examples I gave is because of the surplus women which can't find husbands. Islam has allowed polygyny to protect the modesty of the woman. There are several other conditions. For example, suppose a young lady, she gets married, and within maybe approximately a few months of a marriage, she has an accident and she gets handicapped and she cannot satisfy the husband. The only option for the husband is that he either keeps his first wife with a handicap and takes another wife, or he divorces the first wife and marries a new wife. I'm telling you, suppose your sister happens to be that unfortunate lady who gets handicapped. Which would you prefer? Would you prefer your brother-in-law to divorce her and to marry a new wife, or would you prefer your brother-in-law to keep that first wife and to take another wife? There are situations in which the wife can become seriously ill. She can have a disease in which she will not be able to look after the children or look after the husband. Under such conditions, it is more advisable that that wife shares the husband with another lady who will not only look after the husband, will also look after her as well as the children. Many people may argue that why can't you keep a maidservant or a nurse who will look after the children? I do agree with you. You can very well keep a maidservant who will look after your children and your wife. But who will look after you then? Very soon that maidservant will start looking after you also. So the best option is that you keep your first wife and take another wife and treat both of them equally. There can be conditions such as after several years of marriage, you have got no children. And maybe both the husband and wife, they yearn for a child. The wife can very well give permission to the husband to marry another wife and they can have more children. Some people may argue that why don't you adopt a child? Islam does not allow adoption, for which there are several reasons. I won't go into that. The only option remaining here is that he either divorces the first wife and takes another wife if he wants children, or he keeps the first wife and takes another wife and treats both of them equally. I hope these are sufficient reasons.
The next question from the brother on the left.
My name is Ilyas and I'm a student. The question is, can a woman become the head of the state?
A bit louder, please.
Can the woman become the head of the state?
The brother asked the question, can a woman become the head of a state? There is no text in the Quran which I know which states that a woman cannot become a head of a state. But there are several hadiths. For example, one hadith says that the people who have the leader as a woman will not succeed. Some of the scholars say that this only refers to a particular time in which this hadith was related, especially at the time when Persia had the leader as the queen. The other scholars say no, it refers to all the times. Let's analyze whether it is advisable for a woman to be a head of a state or not. If a woman is head of a state in an Islamic country, she may have to lead the congregational prayers. And if a woman leads the congregational prayers, in Islam we adopt several postures like qiyam, ruku, sujood, standing, bowing and prostration. If a lady is doing that in front of a gents congregation, I'm surely it will cause disturbances in the prayers. If she happens to be head of a state of a modern society like the one we have today, many a times the head of a state has to have meetings with other heads of state which are usually gents, and many a times they have closed door meetings in which no one else is allowed. And if a woman has a closed door meeting with another gent, Islam does not permit her to do that. Islam does not permit a woman to be alone with a mahram, with a foreign male in closed doors. Islam does not permit intermingling of sexes. The head of the state many times receives over publicity by video shooting and by photography, and many times it involves in close proximity with the other heads of states and with other gentlemen. Therefore you can see photographs of the heads of state. If it's a lady, may it be Margaret Thatcher or anyone else, you find a photograph shaking hands with many men. Islam does not allow such free intermingling of sexes. The head of the state requires that it should meet the common man. A lady, if she's the head of the state, it will be difficult for her to meet the common man and try and solve her problems. And science tells us that a woman, during a menstrual period, she undergoes certain behavioral, mental and psychological changes due to the release of the sex hormone estrogen. And these changes will surely disturb her in making decisions if she's the head of the state. Science also tells us that the women have more verbal and vocal skill as compared to the man. And a man has got more spatial ability. Spatial ability means the ability to imagine things, to imagine the future, to imagine a future project. And spatial ability is very important for the head of the state. A woman has been given an edge over the men in verbal and vocal skills which are required for a motherhood. A woman, she may get pregnant and surely she may require rest for a few months. Who will look after the state for those few months? She may have children. Her duty as a mother is very important, and it is more practicable for a man who can do both the duties of a father as well as the head of a state as compared to a woman if she has to do the duty of a mother as well as the head of states. So I am more inclined to those scholars who say that women should not be made the head of states. But that does not mean that a woman cannot take part in making decisions. As I mentioned in my speech, they have a right to vote, they have a right to take part in lawmaking. During the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, Salma, may Allah be pleased with her, she supported and guided the Prophet at a time when the whole Muslim community was disturbed. She guided him and she supported him.